Hello and welcome, dear friends, to another episode of Senior Health Over 60, your trusted source for clear, science-backed, and compassionate health insights, designed specifically for those of us embracing life after 60 here in the United States. Today, we're diving into a topic that has stirred up a lot of concern and controversy in recent years. The title of this video is SCNIORS Beware. These vitamins combinations are the worst for your heart. Now, that might sound alarming, and yes, there's some truth to it. As a physician who has spent decades working with older adults, I've seen firsthand how certain supplement combinations can do more harm than good. But I also believe not all vitamins are villains, and with the right guidance, they can still play a vital role in your healthy aging journey. So, is the danger real? Or is this just another case of fear-mongering headlines? Stick with me because we're going to unpack each combination with both science and real-life stories from patients I've personally cared for. You'll not only learn what to avoid, but more importantly, what to do instead. But before we get into the heart of today's video, I kindly ask, backhand index pointing right if this topic resonates with you. Please give this video a thumbs up. Share it with your fellow seniors, and don't forget to subscribe to Senior Health Over 60. Your support truly motivates us to keep bringing you helpful, life-changing content every single week. Ready to protect your heart and your health? Let's dive in. Movie Camera Part 1. When vitamins turn into a double-edged sword. Let's begin with a truth most of us don't like to admit. As we get older, we tend to believe more is better when it comes to health supplements. We've been told to take our vitamins. We see ads every day pushing multivitamins, heart support blends, energy boosters, and anti-aging formulas. It's easy to assume these pills are always helping, never hurting. But here's where I want to gently challenge that mindset. Over the years, I've treated countless older adults, patients who were thoughtful, well-informed, and genuinely trying to stay healthy. Yet, some of them unknowingly triggered new health issues simply by combining the wrong supplements. Their intentions were good, but the outcomes were not. You see, the way our bodies process nutrients in our 60s and 70s isn't the same as in our 30s. Our liver, kidneys, and cardiovascular systems are more sensitive. And some vitamins, especially when taken together, can build up in ways that quietly harm the heart, without causing obvious symptoms until it's too late. That's why today's video isn't meant to scare you, it's meant to empower you. We're going to break down the 5 riskiest supplement combinations for heart health. I'll explain why each one is a concern, and what smarter, safer alternatives look like, based on science and personal experience with real patients. Let's take a closer look at the first one. A combination that surprises almost everyone. Movie Camera Part 2, Case 1. Vitamin A plus D-alpha tocopherol, synthetic vitamin E. Let me tell you about Helen. Helen is a 68-year-old retired school teacher from Michigan. She's sharp, active, and always trying to do the right thing for her health. Like many older adults, Helen took a daily multivitamin religiously. One she picked up from her local pharmacy because it was on sale. Nothing unusual there, right? But over time, Helen began experiencing strange heart palpitations and moments of dizziness that would come out of nowhere. Her blood work looked fine. Her blood pressure was decent, but her symptoms kept showing up. That's when we took a closer look at her supplements. Her multivitamin was loaded with D-alpha tocopherol, a synthetic version of vitamin E, and a hefty dose of vitamin A. That combo, taken daily over months and years, had quietly started affecting her heart rhythm. Here's the science behind it. Both vitamin A and vitamin E are fat-soluble, which means they don't flush out of the body easily like vitamin C or B vitamins. Instead, they accumulate, especially in the liver. Synthetic vitamin E, particularly D-alpha tocopherol, has been linked in multiple studies to a higher risk of all-cause mortality, especially from heart-related causes. It's also been associated with an increased risk of hemorrhagic stroke, That's bleeding in the brain. Now add vitamin A to the mix, and the situation worsens. High doses of vitamin A can impair mitochondrial function. Basically, it interferes with how heart cells produce energy. It can lead to oxidative stress, irregular rhythms, and even reduced cardiac output. So what happened to Helen? We stopped her multivitamin. We switched her to a food-first approach. Leafy greens for natural vitamin A, and foods like sunflower seeds and rice bran oil rich in natural vitamin E, known as tocotrienols. Within 3 weeks, her symptoms improved significantly. This is a wake-up call. Not all vitamins are created equal, and the synthetic forms can sometimes act like silent saboteurs. Always check the labels. Avoid D-alpha tocopherol. And unless your doctor says otherwise, skip high-dose vitamin A supplements. Up next, another combo that sounds healthy but can quietly turn dangerous. Omega-3 and vitamin E case 2. Omega-3 plus vitamin E, synthetic form. Let's talk about Jerry. Jerry is 72 years old, a Vietnam veteran, and one of those guys who takes pride in doing everything by the book when it comes to his health. He exercises every morning, eats grilled salmon twice a week, and never misses his daily fish oil capsule, the kind he buys in bulk at his favorite warehouse club. But one afternoon, Jerry came into my office with something odd. His forearms were covered in large, dark bruises, and he couldn't remember bumping into anything. "Doc," he said, "I look like I lost a bar fight I don't remember." We ran labs. His platelet count was normal. His blood pressure was okay. But when we reviewed his supplements, there it was fish oil with added synthetic vitamin E, D-alpha tocopherol again. Here, that's what most people don't know. Both omega-3 fatty acids and vitamin E have blood-thinning effects. On their own, that can be beneficial, especially for people with high triglycerides or mild clotting risk. But combined, and especially in higher doses or over long periods, they can become risky, even dangerous. In Jerry's case, the combination was interfering with his body's natural clotting process. And remember, as we age, many of us are already on medications like aspirin, Plavix, or even warfarin. Stacking blood thinners on top of each other, even natural ones, can create a perfect storm. What's worse, synthetic vitamin E doesn't just thin the blood more aggressively. It may also disrupt the delicate chemical signaling involved in clot formation. That's something fish oil alone doesn't typically do. Jerry's story is a perfect example of how natural doesn't always mean safe. We adjusted his supplements, switched him to a pure omega-3 formula with no added vitamin E, and kept a closer eye on his clotting markers. The bruising cleared up and his confidence came back. If you're taking fish oil, look closely at the label. Does it include vitamin E? If so, is it the synthetic kind? Talk to your doctor, especially if you're on blood thinners. Protecting your heart means more than just taking pills. It means making sure your supplements work with your body, not against it. Coming up next, a combo that looks harmless but may overload your kidneys and knock your heart rhythm off balance. Potassium and magnesium. Case 3. High-dose potassium plus magnesium. Let me tell you about Susan. Susan is 75, a retired dental hygienist who spends her mornings tending to her rose garden and her evenings on Zoom yoga with her daughter in Seattle. She's vibrant, full of life, and incredibly health-conscious. Like many active seniors, she started adding electrolyte powders to her daily routine after reading about the benefits of potassium and magnesium for muscle cramps and heart health. It seemed to help at first, but then Susan began feeling strange flutters in her chest. Her heartbeat felt off, not exactly fast or slow, just unpredictable. Sometimes it skipped, sometimes it pounded. At night, she had trouble sleeping. And worst of all, she was afraid to tell anyone, afraid it meant something serious. When she finally came in, we reviewed everything: medications, lifestyle, diet, and supplements. Her electrolyte powder, It contained 1,500 mg of potassium per serving, and she was taking it twice a day. It also had a high dose of magnesium citrate. That's when the alarm bells rang. You see, potassium and magnesium are both essential minerals, no question about that. They're crucial for heart rhythm, nerve function, and muscle balance. But in high doses, especially for older adults, they can quietly shift from helpful to harmful. What many seniors don't realize is that kidney function naturally declines with age, even if your lab work still looks normal. When the kidneys can't clear excess potassium efficiently, it begins to build up in the bloodstream, a condition called hyperkalemia. It can cause irregular heartbeats, muscle weakness, and in extreme cases, sudden cardiac arrest. Now add magnesium, which enhances potassium absorption, and you've got a perfect setup for electrical imbalance in the heart. In Susan's case, we ran her labs. Her eGFR was slightly low, indicating early-stage kidney impairment, something she never knew. We stopped the electrolyte powder, adjusted her hydration and diet, and within a few weeks, her heart rhythm stabilized. The lesson here is simple but powerful. Just because something is natural or over-the-counter doesn't mean it's risk-free, especially in large doses. If you're supplementing with potassium or magnesium, always start low, spread the dose throughout the day, and most importantly, get your kidney function checked. Up next, a surprising duo that could stiffen your arteries over time: high-dose zinc and copper. Case 4, high-dose zinc plus copper. Now let's talk about Tom. Tom is 66 years old, a retired postal worker from Ohio. He's one of those people who reads the nutrition label on everything, smart, curious, and not one to take health advice lightly. When the pandemic hit, Tom, like millions of others, stocked up on immune-boosting supplements. Chief among them, zinc. He took it every day, sometimes twice a day, to stay ahead of colds and flu. At first, he felt good. But over the next year, something changed. Tom began feeling chronically tired, even after a full night's sleep. His blood pressure ticked up, his cholesterol worsened, and his heart rate occasionally became irregular. At one point, he noticed strange tingling in his hands and feet. That's when he came to see me. We did a full workup. Nothing serious jumped out until we looked at his supplement history. Tom had been taking 50 mg of zinc per day for over a year, and though his multivitamin also included copper, it wasn't enough to offset the imbalance. What happened to him is more common than people realize, and it's backed by solid science. Zinc and copper compete for absorption in the gut. When you take too much zinc, your body absorbs less and less copper, even if it's present in your diet or supplements. Over time, this creates a functional copper deficiency, and that's when the problems start. Copper is critical for vascular health. It supports enzymes that maintain the flexibility of your blood vessels, especially the ones feeding your heart. It also helps regulate iron metabolism through an enzyme called ceruloplasmin. Without enough copper, iron builds up in the wrong places, oxidative stress rises, and the heart becomes more vulnerable. In fact, research has linked copper deficiency to heart enlargement, reduced cardiac output, and in some cases, even heart failure. And the scariest part, the symptoms creep in slowly: fatigue, palpitations, numbness, until real damage has already occurred. For Tom, we adjusted his supplement regimen. We dropped the zinc to a safe, balanced dose, focused on food sources like nuts, seeds, and whole grains, and monitored his copper levels. Within 2 months, his energy improved and his blood pressure began trending back down. Here's the takeaway. If you're taking zinc, don't go beyond 40 mg a day, and make sure your copper intake is adequate. Balance is everything. More isn't better, it's just more. And for your heart, the right ratio matters far more than the highest dose. Up next, one of the most common combinations in America and one of the most misunderstood. Let's talk about vitamin D and calcium. Case 5, vitamin D plus calcium without vitamin K2 and magnesium. Let's finish this segment with a case that's especially common, and in my view, one of the most misunderstood. Meet Linda. Linda is 70 years old, a former high school librarian from Oregon. A few years ago, she had a bone density scan that showed early signs of osteoporosis. Her doctor, meaning well, recommended the usual: daily calcium and vitamin D supplements. Like many women in their 70s, Linda followed that advice faithfully. 2 big white calcium pills each morning, plus 2,000 IU of vitamin D3. She never missed a dose. Not once. But 3 years later, during a routine heart checkup, her scans revealed calcification in her arteries, the very vessels that deliver blood to her heart. Ironically, while she had been trying to protect her bones, she may have unknowingly hardened her arteries instead. Here's what's going on. Vitamin D helps your body absorb calcium, that's true. But without magnesium, your body may not activate vitamin D properly. And without vitamin K2, the calcium that's absorbed can end up in the wrong places, like your arteries, kidneys, and joints, rather than your bones. K2, especially in the MK7 form, plays a critical role in guiding calcium into the bone matrix and away from soft tissue. And magnesium. It helps regulate how calcium behaves throughout your system. Without both, calcium supplements can go rogue, and your heart may pay the price. Multiple studies have confirmed this. One published in the British Medical Journal showed that calcium supplements, especially without cofactors like K2 and magnesium, were associated with a 30% increased risk of heart attack in older adults. And yet, calcium pills remain one of the most recommended and misunderstood supplements on pharmacy shelves. So what happened with Linda? We changed her entire approach. Instead of relying on high-dose calcium supplements, she focused on calcium-rich foods like leafy greens, sardines with bones, tahini, and almonds. We added magnesium glycinate and vitamin K2, MK7, to her daily routine. Her energy improved, and her follow-up imaging a year later showed no progression in arterial calcification. And best of all, her bone density held steady, even without the megadoses. This story is personal to me because I see this mistake all the time. Seniors are doing what they've been told is right, but missing key pieces of the puzzle. If you're taking vitamin D and calcium, make sure you're also taking magnesium and K2. And ask your doctor if a food-based strategy might serve you even better. Up next, we'll bring it all together: 5 stories, 5 lessons, and what it means for your health going forward. Part 3, Summary Lessons from the Doctor. So now that we've walked through these 5 supplement combinations, each with its own hidden risks, what can we learn from all of this? First and foremost, more isn't always better, especially when it comes to vitamins and minerals. As we age, our bodies process nutrients differently. What may have worked in our 40s or 50s doesn't always apply in our 60s, 70s, or beyond. Absorption slows down, our organs become more sensitive, and the margin for error gets thinner. Second, we must move beyond the mindset that supplements are harmless simply because they're labeled as natural or over-the-counter. The truth is, supplements are powerful. They can support healing or silently contribute to problems if taken in the wrong doses or combinations. And third, and this one matters most, your heart is not just a muscle, it's a finely tuned electrical system. Every mineral, every nutrient, every rhythm it beats depends on the delicate balance inside your body. When that balance is thrown off, even by well-intended supplements, the consequences can be serious. My advice: start simple. Stay informed, and always personalize your health plan. No 2 seniors are the same. What works for one may not be right for another. Get your labs checked regularly. Know your kidney function, your medication list, your supplement labels. And never, ever hesitate to ask your doctor, is what I'm taking actually helping me, or could it be hurting me? In our next and final section, I'll wrap this up with one last important message and a quick preview of what's coming next on this channel. Movie camera closing, final thoughts, and call to action. So what's the big takeaway? If you've watched this far, first, thank you. That tells me you truly care about your health, your independence, and your future. And that means the world to me. You've now seen that even with the best intentions, the wrong combinations of supplements, ones that seem helpful on the surface, can quietly put your heart at risk. But here's the good news. Knowledge is power. You now know what to look for, what to avoid, and how to use nutrition and supplements in a way that supports your heart, not stresses it. Remember the stories we shared: Helen, Jerry, Susan, Tom, and Linda. They're not just case studies. They're real people, people like you. People who made small changes and saw big improvements, not just in their heart health, but in how they felt every single day. If there's one message I hope you'll take with you, it's this: stay curious, stay cautious, and stay in charge. Supplements aren't bad, they just need to be chosen with care, especially as we age. Before you go, please take a moment to like this video, share it with someone you care about, and subscribe to our channel, Senior Health Over 60. Your support helps us reach more seniors across the country with life-saving, life-enhancing information, and it means we can keep producing these videos just for you. And here's a little teaser. In our next episode, I'll be sharing 7 everyday foods that can help naturally cleanse your arteries and support circulation. It's simple, delicious, and surprisingly effective. Until then, be kind to yourself. Take care of that wonderful heart of yours, and we'll see you next time.